looking at 2026 and the football season now, for you, what constitutes victory? You are listening to the East Texas Banner right here at EastTexasBanner.com, sitting down with Coach Foreman here in Jasper. Coach, tell us a little bit about, I know everybody's getting amped up right now for football. Rank one, let's start there.
Rank one is not a bad word. It is a scary word, for people that are not technology savvy. But rank one is a tool that the UIL is trying to make all-in-one type situation, and that's what
universal across high school.
Universal. That's what the goal is. So that way they can track, and parents, coaches, the UIL can go into one place and look for, previous participation forms involving when students transfer, right, physicals, all of their online history and whatnot, team rosters, team schedules. It's literally, like you said, universal. It's an all-in-one is what it is. And so that's kind of what we're moving towards. The problem is with school districts that have not already had their student athletes in rank one, it's more time consuming because you're having to get the parents registered, and that's what we're having to do. And so the districts that I've been have used, just by luck, have used rank one as their tool for technology. But it's in the past, it's just been for rosters, schedules, and just to monitor the physicals, online documentation, make sure all that stuff's been done. But now, like I said, you're moving into, the coaches have their trainings, our UIL trainings, state trainings. It's located in there, and, these previous participation forms. And so the PAPF question, every parent that has a high school athlete has to answer. And so it's just a yes or no question. And so, but that's creating issues because how rank one works is when your kid has done everything that they need to do, they turn green. And then if not, they stay pink. And so right now we got a bunch of pink instead of a bunch of green, but it's really not for, most of it is actually not the parents. It's just the process right now is kind of lagging. So we had a parent meeting last night. It went really well. We got 32 people signed in to rank one that hadn't prior to, and that's a big deal. But before the start of practice, every athlete's got to be in rank one and green. And so there may be a couple of issues where that is not the case and they can still practice. But for the most part, if you're not green, you can't step foot on the field or the court or wherever it may be. So that's why there's urgency with this rank one stuff.
All right. So speaking of that, when is first practice?
Okay. So the first practice for football for the incoming freshmen is going to be at 6:30 a.m. on August the 3rd. That's Monday. And then the first practice for the 10th through 12th graders is going to be at 8:30. At same thing, 8:30 a.m. on August the 3rd. And we'll stay with that same format that first Monday through Friday. And so that way we know the weather is cool enough. We won't be interfered with any type of heat issues, and we won't have to adjust practice times.
Okay. So what's the latest on first scrimmages?
Okay, so our first scrimmage there was confusion on the date. A lot of people asked that question. We scrimmage at Diboll on August the 14th. And that's been set in stone for quite some time. There was just issues with the date. The second scrimmage is the one that has changed multiple times. We picked up last week. We'll be in a three-way scrimmage with Vidor and Kirbyville, and it's going to be in Vidor. And so, and that'll be on Thursday, August the 20th. I believe it's 5 o'clock for the sub-varsity and 6:30 for the varsity. I believe that's what it is. But I know that's the date and that's the start time for the sub-varsity. So we're excited about not having to drive 4 hours to scrimmage. But
was people scared? Was it just like?
No, it just was. I called the local people that weren't already on our schedule,
right?
And they were all playing people on our schedule, and so. I even called, I called Coach Barbe in Louisiana, and they're scrimmaging Coach Alvarez at center. Well, we couldn't do that because, Coach Alvarez and I are not going to scrimmage because we play. And so I think Livingston was scrimmaging like LCM or somebody. And so it just kept,
all over the place.
Yeah, it just kept working out. Like everybody around here was scrimmaging, somebody else that was already on our schedule, so we just couldn't make it work. But we're excited and appreciative to Coach Hubbard and Coach DuBois for letting us get in this scrimmage, because it'll really help. I mean, that's a school night, and driving 4 hours down there and 4 hours back would have been brutal.
That would have been rough.
That would have been a rough one, yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, I mean, obviously we got Meet the Bulldogs coming up.
Yeah. The Meet the Bulldogs is going to be on August the 4th. It's going to be at 7 o'clock right here in the stadium. This will be my first, Meet the Bulldogs. I'm excited about it because I still hadn't met all the Bulldogs probably. I get to meet everybody still.
Right.
But no, it'll be great for our community, and I would imagine that's going to be a pretty packed house function, I would imagine.
Yeah, no doubt. And it seems like the energy keeps building each week. So
yeah.
Tell me this, the other sport that may go a little bit unpromoted sometimes throughout these high schools is volleyball.
Yeah, volleyball and cross country. Volleyball with Coach Hildebrandt, they crank it up, the same time we do, right there at the 1st of August. And then cross country. Cross country they move a little different. A lot of those young ladies and young men, they're practicing all throughout the summertime. Those are normally AM practices with your cross country, and with the heat policy, they'll definitely stick with that. Coach Frazier, she'll do a good job. This is her first year to be a head cross country coach, but we're really, really, really excited about what Coach Hildebrandt and what Coach Frazier both have going with their sports.
Tell me about the heat policy specifically. What is it? I mean, what does that look like?
So there's levels, and so at different levels, if you look at a chart, it's got different colors. When you get to like red and black, it's bad, And so, but I think it starts giving you instruction at like 82 degrees, which I mean that's every day.
Sure.
That's winter days here. But and then when you get to, I think it's like 92.9 or something like that. Well, if you get to 93, I know you're not supposed to be doing a whole lot at all, or if anything, I have it written down, but there's an app that tells you exactly what you can and can't do. So it's very, self-explanatory. But it's just, there's certain temperature you got to wear this and you can't wear this. Certain temperature you got to take more breaks than others. Certain temperature you can't be in full pads. And then there's just a time where it's like, okay, you can't even go outside. I guess you're going to melt. If you walk on the sidewalk, you're going to melt. But, my take on this is I do think it's a preventative measure, and I think people, their hearts and minds are in the right place. My biggest concern is especially with our sub-varsity kids and junior high kids that have not practiced at the time they're going to play. I just think that's going to be a recipe for just bad. Yeah, I mean, I don't think, I'm scared to death about what that's going to look like.
Sure.
I'm not worried as much about the varsity. We play our games at 7:30, but for those teams that play, some people play at 4:30.
It's going to be cooking.
Yeah, I mean, but if you're not, it's okay if you've been practicing at that time.
Yeah.
Even if you've been practicing not in full pads at that time, but when you're not allowed to practice at all, and then you just throw them out there and go, all right, 5 o'clock, go get you some of that. I just don't know how that's going to end. I mean, I don't know.
So the games are the games regulated based on that same policy?
No, the games are games. It's just whatever. And so that's what I'm saying. And the smaller school, or the less amount of athletes you have, you would think the more dangerous it becomes, because
you're smoking them on both sides.
Yeah, I'm playing both ways. I'm not coming out of the game. Whereas if we were in, I don't know, Port Neches Groves maybe. I mean, they're two platoon. I mean, they got guys that play linebacker, and they just play linebacker, and then they ain't no running backs.
Yeah.
So you can rest half the game. Well, it's not like that when you got 25 kids on a 7th grade team. You're playing all 3 phases.
Sure.
And you haven't practiced that time since last year. I have questions about that. I would love to see what the statistics say as far as heat-related issues based on what we're about to do with these junior high and sub-varsity kids, because they play earlier.
Yeah.
They start playing at, like I said, 5 o'clock. And so I just think I have concerns about that. But, we'll abide by the policy. And I did not think, personally, I didn't think this would be something that would ever be mandatory. I thought it would always be recommended. But I just think if you have coaches that are responsible, you should not have issues. I mean, that's just my take on it. I mean, you can push kids to a point.
Sure.
And then, but there has to be a time where you use common sense and like, hey, it's like 102 in the shade right now.
Sure.
Maybe we shouldn't be out here for 3 hours running, gassers for, that's not going to end well. But I don't know. I think most coaches do have the common sense and they're very, responsible for how they're practicing kids.
So looking at 2026 and the football season there, for you, what constitutes victory?
Well, I mean, there's the score
because you've been in the coaching game for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You're coming here, when you're taking over a new program like this, that there's buy-in on all parties and this type of thing. What really, when you walk away, I mean, obviously, if we go to state and win state, the question's answered. But really, what are you looking for with the young men?
Yeah, discipline, effort, teamwork. Those three things are huge to me. I told them in the weight room the other day, because we were having a day where we were struggling at the end, and I told them, I said, look, in my opinion, this group of individuals has improved so much since April the 1st to now. I said, I believe in you. And I believe we're going to be highly successful this year. I believe that. I may be naive, and this is my team. But if I don't believe it, who will? And so, but those three things, and then of course, I mean, I'm evaluated on the end result. The end result needs to be we got one more point than the other team. If you look at it like that, I don't think you can always look at it like that. But because I can tell you, taking over other programs where this one was at, and I've done that before. See, this is the third time I've done this. And so it is a progression. But I will tell you, it varies because Beaumont Central, and I've said this before, year one, we played Needling for the district title. The year before that, the team was 2-8, just like Jasper is right now. When I took over in Killeen, I inherited a team on a double-digit losing streak, and we also went 0-10. But if you just look at the scores, and I know this sounds crazy, but instead of getting beat 63-7, we lost 17-14. And you saw the competitiveness change, you saw the effort change, you saw the discipline change. And that's when I could, you could tell that if I could, if they'll keep me here long enough, this is going to go the right way. And third year we're in the postseason. We were the district runner-up the 2 out of the next 3 years, and we were in the postseason up until last year. And so, but you could tell that things were changing the right way.
Sure.
Just right now, I haven't seen anybody in full pads, but I can tell that the things that I look for in an individual, a group, and a whole team and a program are changing to what I feel like they should be. And that's, that to me, that is the end result that I'm looking for right now. Now, of course, we want to win every game at every level, at every time we step on the field.
Right.
Nobody's ever done that, but a lot of people get close to it, or some people get close to it.
So just incremental growth.
Well, I don't even know. In 2026, I don't know if you have the ability to have incremental growth. It's just, it's for people that are outside of me.
Sure.
But for what I'm looking for, it would be that. It would be that incremental growth. You're right.
10-4. Anything else you want to put out here to the public?
Yeah, I do. I want to touch briefly on this, and we talked about the parent meeting last night. The Boost Club will meet next Tuesday. I'm not sure exactly location. Mr. Roy is through here, and Mr. Land come through here a good amount. I'll get that information out ASAP. But that's something I do encourage as many as our parents can get involved with that. And it could be as little as just attending the meetings and or working a concession stand. But that's important to our athletic department and to our football program. And so as many parents as we can, they could get involved with that. That'd be much appreciated. And, as we're nearing these seasons start dates for mandatory practice, continue to make sure that your student athletes are getting the proper rest and proper hydration, because those things are huge, to their performance on the field and preventing injuries. Thank you all for your support, and go Dogs.